Hi, Todd from Interfidelity here at the Big Sound 2015 with all the stuff in my room, and Todd Green of Todd the Vinyl Junkie has come by. One, because he brought over the Teton amp, and that's going to be one of the tube amps that I got in this system. There's the Teton and the Woo, and then as the third tube amp, I got my Bottlehead Crack over here. So, Todd, you get to spend a little time with the system this morning. Why don't you say howdy to the folks and tell them what you heard and what it was like?
Hi, everybody. Well, first, the word that really comes to mind is it's impressive. There is so much really good equipment here, and it sounds good. Headphones have come a long way. We started way back at Headroom days, and
yeah,
and we thought that sounded good, but this is levels above where we began.
Yeah.
And the headphones are impressive, the amps are impressive, and it's, I don't know, I have to say it sounded great.
Yeah, it's true that it is one of the surprising things to me is that as the headphones get better, they begin to zero in on a somewhere around neutral, not exactly the same, but somewhere around neutral. And it's getting harder and harder to identify the exact differences because they are similar, more similar now than they've ever been before, and they're very good sounding now.
Well, remember when we used to sit and pop different op amps in and try and listen, and it was like you could tell the differences. Listening, going from amp to amp with the same headphone, there really is much less variance in the sound. The quality is really really awesome.
So you spent a little time listening to the difference between the Bakun amplifier, this one, the current source amplifier, and the Vioelectric V281, which is a voltage amplifier. What did you think about the sound of those two amps?
I found them both to be excellent. Vioelectric maybe a little. I found it to be a little less punchy, but it had plenty of go. I mean, it was really good. It may have been a little fuller sounding than the Bakun, but again, you know, when you plug the same headphone into two really good amps, the differences are really becoming smaller and smaller. I could live with either one of them.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing because those two are very, very different amplifiers completely.
Yeah, you know, but when you put a signal in and you're designing it to get a similar signal out, I mean, the designs and the quality of parts and everything else is really it's stunning. I mean, it's great.
And then we listened to the Woo amp, the WA234. And compared it with using the Hi-Fi Man HE1000s and compared it to the Stax 009s on the KGSS. What were your impressions there?
Well, to me, hands down, the HE1000s with the Woo amps took it fuller sounding. The highs were more natural. I just found it to be a more natural experience of listening. The electrostatics are still to this day tipped to the high end. The bass is a little weak, but even the highs on the Stax just weren't as clean and weren't as good as the HE1000s. They've fast become my favorite headphone. I mean, they really they do it right. They do an awful lot of things right and very few things wrong. You know, and I hear people talking about their lack of punch and stuff, and maybe to some degree, but it's not that there isn't punch there. It's,
right.
You know, I find it a very, very good listen. Part of what way I judge stuff also is I don't like listening for 15 minutes and I'm done. I like listening for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And if I can't listen that long through a headphone or an amp, then it really doesn't serve me well. If it fatigues me or I just can't listen to it, if I get bored with it or whatever. And I was very impressed with that combination.
Yeah.
The Woo and the HE1000.
Go ahead.
And less so with the Stax.
Right. We also got to plug the HE1000 into the Sim Audio Moon Neo 430HA. What do you feel about that amplifier?
It's very good too. I mean, like we keep saying that the differences are really narrowed, but that I like the sound with that amp a lot.
Yeah, that's my feeling is it doesn't editorialize. It just is just right down the middle. Where the Woo, for example, has this just a lovely romantic sound, and we played around with the different keys to configure it. We listened to the low output plate and cathode, and then the high Z or low Z output plate and cathode, and then the high Z output plate. What did you feel there? That the low Z cathode was the first one.
Yeah, and the low Z cathode to me really did. That's my pick. If I would listen to that all day long, and probably if somebody wanted the other ones for paperweight or whatever, they could use them, because I wouldn't be using them. And that's not to say that they stunk or were terrible or anything. To me, it was just the other one was so much better.
I found it clearly better as well on the low Z cathode.
The others just weren't as smooth. And when I say smooth and warm, that's not at the expense of the detail and the impact and all that sort of stuff. The other ones just were, one was kind of tizzy up on top. I think that was the high Z. If I remember
the high
right.
Z plate. Yeah,
it was. I would have found that fatiguing and irritating to listen to for long periods of time. Listen for a song or two. It's not bad, but and the low Z just wasn't as pleasant to listen.
Yeah, cool. All right, Todd. Well, man, thank you very much for bringing the Teton by. We didn't talk about that because, of course, we can't ask Todd about his own amplifier.
It's the best. It's the greatest thing on earth. Gotta buy 2 of them. Here I am doing ads for everybody else.
Yeah, right. but I'll certainly start giving a listen here, letting it warm up and play around. And thanks, Todd, for bringing it by. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for the experience, Todd.
Yeah.
It was really awesome. You got a great setup here, and as always, sitting and comparing stuff, listening with you kind of brings back the old days.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
You had fun doing that? Still doing it?
Hell yeah, we did. It's great to see you around, man.
Likewise.
All right.
Take care, Todd.
Okay, and we'll see you guys in a little while.